So today's video could be very interesting, especially if the ground stays wet like this, because we are finally loading on the base L500 map onto the car. But first we do need to fit the high pressure fuel pump, the secondary injectors, the upgraded ones. We have a 4-bar map sensor, and I think that is pretty much it. And then we can load the stage 4 whatever hybrid turbo map on, and we can go out for a test drive. So in the last video, in case you missed it, I fitted the hybrid turbo IS38 and the full Cobra exhaust system. I did a little sound check at the end of it, but hopefully in today's video, obviously we can go out for a road test and we'll get a proper sound check. So let's start her up and get her into the workshop and fit them fuel parts. Now, this may come as a bit of a surprise, but I've never really actually modified cars before. I've never gone so far. Stage 1, I had an Audi S3 back in 2017 that was just a stage 1 with a forged intake hose like that. That is as most I've really modified a car. So I've never fitted injectors, high pressure fuel pump, anything like that. So it will be a learning lesson for me today. But we are going to start with the secondary injectors. So these are MPI injectors, which I believe are these ones here, which sit or go into the inlet manifold. They're just secondary injectors that get that go on the back of the valves, I believe, help keep the valves clean. We are going to be swapping those out for a lot bigger. So I don't actually know what the standard ones are CC wise, but the upgraded ones are Bosch 980cc. By fitting these injectors, it just helps us increase the fuel required to run the 500 brake horsepower. So I will put it on a time lapse and I'll try and talk through what I'm doing, but because I've never done it before, so I will just be doing it for the first time as well. So it looks like we've got to undo that, remove this sensor here, another bolt here, and then we might be able to pull all 4 injectors out with this little rail. I'm not 100% sure, but we'll give it a go and see how we get on. Right guys, I just want to give a massive thanks to today's sponsor, which is YFood. Now YFood have been continually supporting my channel since I've started pretty much, and they've continued to help me produce videos like this for you guys today. So a massive thanks to YFood for sponsoring today's video. Now YFood is a meal replacement drink, not to be confused with a diet drink. They contain around 500 calories in, so it's a proper meal replacement. They do keep you full for between 3 and 5 hours. I can vouch for that. And they contain around 26 different vitamins and minerals on, so they're very healthy for you. And they taste great as well, to be fair. I mean, there's loads of different flavors, and I haven't actually found a flavor I don't like yet. I like every single one. Now, they're also high in protein, they're lacto-free, they're gluten-free as well, so they are very good for you. And when I go out driving, I always take one of these in the van. You don't have to keep them refrigerated, so it's fine sitting in the van, and I just have one throughout the day. It is the easiest way to do it, and I really like using them, and it feels good to be having a healthy drink. Now, they have changed their packaging slightly. They've made it a little bit easy, so Happy Banana is now yellow, and they've basically color coordinated their drinks just to make it a little bit easier to see what one you're having. So guys, if you haven't used these before, I recommend the starter pack. So if you click the link in my description, it takes you over to their website, and if you use my discount code, which is salvage10, it will give you an additional 10% out at checkout, guys. So again, a massive thanks to YFood for sponsoring today's video. So there we go, look, we've got the secondary rail out with the 4 MPI injectors. It wasn't actually too bad. Probably took about 10 minutes once I'd wiggled them all out to get it out. It's very accessible. So here is, I'll just show you now. So here is the standard MPI injector. And we've got our 980cc ones here. They are identical looks wise. The only difference is the connector is slightly different. So I do have some adapters that will enable me to connect them up properly. But if we just clean up this one here, so we'll be able to see the main difference being. So if you can see at all, it's gonna. if you can see in the end of that, there's just, if you can see, there's just one hole in the end for the fuel to come out, and that is the standard one. And if you look at our new one, our 980cc, you can see that there's 5 holes, and there's one in the middle as well. So I think there's one in the middle. So 6. No, I think it's just, no, there is 6 holes around the outside. So is there? No, sorry. After having a look, so if you can have a look at that one, look, there's 7 holes in that one in total. So a lot bigger flow. And all I've got to do now is just a little bit of grease or a little bit of lube, slot that in, and use my little clip where I've lost that. Fucking hell. Slot that in. Like so. And then we've got our little clip here that holds it in. Just sits like that, and there we go. Simple as that. So that is one replaced. I'm now going to do the other 3, and we'll stick it back in, and that is really simple. Job done. So that's the injectors all now done. So the next thing I'm going to do is the high pressure fuel pump, which is really easy to access. It is just here. I believe that is an M10 that I need to be able to undo that. So we'll undo the plug. And we've got 2 fuel lines. We've got a one here, rubber one, and a metal one down there. Now, yeah, this looks interesting. So I've got the high pressure fuel pump off, and I'm now following the instructions from Autotech to replace the high pressure fuel pump part. So the first thing we need to do is, it says I need a bearing splitter, which I thought I had, but I don't. I've just gone to Halfords, don't have one, so I've come back, and if you can see here, what you've got to do is push down the spring, and by pushing down the spring, it exposes a bearing on the top here, and that bearing you need to press off. So I need to put it in a vise now, press down on the top and pull that bearing off essentially, so we can replace the internal parts. Now you can see what I've kind of improvised doing. I've used my electrical wires. There's a nice perfectly sized hole here. I've just cable tied it up so it can't come off, and I'm now going to put it in the press, and hopefully this will withstand and not bend, and pop the bearing off. So let's find out. Oh no, it's just come through the... Okay, that's way too tight. I mean, this is silly. No, it hasn't worked. Right, try again. This time I think I've got a better grip on it. Thank you. There we go. That was hard work. But we got there. Right, so I've just taken the spring out, and I've got a special tool here that you need to undo this. What does it say? Remove the top portion of the pump. Right, okay, so I need a spanner. Yeah. Top. Always an injury. I'm going to assume this is the only difference. Look, the fact that the new one is quite a bit thicker than the old one, giving us more fuel, I assume. So, I guess it is as simple as that. There we go. So we'll put the old piston in here. And then we've got, I think the Autotech's supplied us with new parts. Looks like this is fitted a little bit differently. It's not pressed on. There's a couple of clips, which I hate these type of clips because they are horrible. They're horrible to work. Doesn't look great because the gaps aren't fully closed up, but loading map, come on. Right, things have gone quite quickly south after that last clip. Now you didn't see it on camera, but I actually fitted the 4-bar map sensor, which actually goes down there on a boost pipe. Really easy. It was a 2-second job, which is why I didn't bother filming it. And then you saw in the last clip that I was loading the mat on. And off camera, what I wanted to do was just to quickly start it, let it run, make sure there's no leaks anywhere, and just quickly take it up and down the road and back just to make sure it was all good before I then filmed going out on the first road test. Now on that, so I actually idled absolutely fine, probably left it 15 minutes, checked everything, all was good. So then I went out to just the roundabout and back, which is probably half a mile there, half a mile back. And it was on the half mile back where things went wrong. Now, just as I was about to, approaching the drive, the EPC light came on and it started misfiring, no power. I managed to limp it to the top of the drive, and as I put my foot on the clutch to put it into neutral, it conked out. So I tried to restart it, and it did, but then chucked out a load of white smoke out the exhaust, so I immediately turned it back off again. And then went and got a code reader, ran back up and had a look, and I had a misfire on cylinder 4 detected. So I left it for a while, and then I went to actually start it again, and it just wouldn't even turn over. It just made a horrible clunking noise and wouldn't turn over. So at that point I was fearing the worst, thinking that I'd lost a cylinder and it's possibly seized because it wouldn't turn over, because I originally thought maybe just a spark plug, coil pack or anything like that. But yeah, after it stopped turning over, I feared that a cylinder had gone or something like that. So I managed to push it back down the hill, and what I've done is I have removed the coil pack, I've removed cylinder 4 spark plug, which has actually revealed quite a lot of fuel in the cylinder. So we have a potential fueling issue. Well, there is a fueling issue, there's way too much of it in the cylinder. So my thoughts are at the moment are two things. Our new MPI injector in cylinder 4 is faulty and possibly stuck open, or like the problem you get with tuning, is the good old saying, all tuning does is expose the next weak part. And in this case, the added fuel pressure with the high pressure fuel pump and added fuel pressure in the map for the fuel system may have tipped injector, the direct injector, so the main one that goes into the cylinder, it may have tipped that over the edge and has now become faulty due to the extra pressure and possibly stuck open, which may explain why it wouldn't then turn over, because if I'd have cycled the ignition a few times, could have flooded the cylinder and essentially wouldn't allow it to turn over because it's hydro locked. So that is a possibility, but at this stage that is as far as I've got. So not great news. First, I didn't even get to a first road test. We've already hit a stumbling block with tuning. So I think what we're going to have to do now is I'm going to remove the other 3 coil packs, the other 3 spark plugs, just to make sure that those 3 cylinders are all dry, which kind of eliminates any other fault. It kind of isolates the fault to cylinder 4, which kind of then rules out a mapping issue, for example, or something like that. It would kind of isolate it to a mechanical problem with cylinder 4. Most likely at this point being the direct port injector is possibly stuck open. It could be the new one that's faulty as well, don't get me wrong, but that is what we're going to have to do now. So I will take those 3 spark plugs out, make sure the other 3 cylinders are dry. I will probably remove the rail for the MPI injectors and cycle the ignition, see if the new one gets stuck open, and if that's all okay, then yeah, we're gonna have to try and get the direct port injector out and just have a look at that. Right, so I've just taken the other 3 spark plugs out and coil packs, so I've got access to all 4 cylinder now. I've got a little boroscope here, a little LED, and it's on my phone. So we're just gonna go into each cylinder and have a look. So cylinder number 1. So cylinder number 1 looks pretty dry. Nothing untoward there. Cylinder number 2. Again, looks pretty dry. Number 3. Number 3 also nice and dry. Now we'll have a look at number 4. You can see already that, and you can see number 4, look, completely covered in fuel. I mean, the fact that there's a puddle of fuel possibly is a good thing at the minute, because it means it hasn't gone past the rings, which means there might not be a compression issue. That would be our next test, because if it's buggered a cylinder up, we're screwed. However, definitely a problem there, look, completely covered in fuel. Right, look at this absolute mess. So I have the inlet manifold, I got that off. That was fairly straightforward to do. It was just 8 T30 bolts and, sorry, 6 T30 bolts and the 2 10mm bolts. We've got the intercooler hose going in the bottom. The hardest bit was there was a little bracket here. I have taken it off. Where have I put it? I don't know where it is. Basically, there's a bracket. Oh no, see, look. There's a bracket here that you have to fully remove to be able to get the inlet manifold off. That was probably the hardest bit because there's a bolt right down there that I had to get. But overall, it wasn't too bad, and I have just swung the inlet manifold out the way. So we've got our MPI here. I didn't think that was going to be a problem because obviously they are all brand new injectors. So I cycled the ignition with those out, and yeah, they didn't leak. So we just need to check our DI injectors, which I have the rail out here, look.
Obviously I need to keep the fuel plugged in because I'm hoping or assuming that when I turn the ignition on, number 4 is just going to leak. So what we shall do is try and have a look. Oh, there you go, look. See it? See, look, it's pissing out fuel. Number 4. There we go. So, there's our problem. Still pissing out, look. Cheeky little bugger. And obviously all the others, look, as they should be, not doing anything. So, there we go. So guys, there we go, that's that problem diagnosed. We have a stuck open leaking injector, direct injection injector on cylinder number 4. So that unfortunately is a direct correlation to modifying your car. All it does is expose the next weak part, and in this point, by obviously putting the high pressure fuel pump in, and in the map we are upping the fuel pressure to be able to obviously inject more fuel, and by upping the fuel pressure, number 4 injector has failed. So I still don't know if the engine is all right. I haven't turned it over obviously, so I'm hoping that it is okay, but we will find out. So obviously I can't just replace that one injector because chances are the other 3 may also fail, probably will fail at some point, either in the not too distant future or very soon. So I do need to replace all 4, and I have taken this opportunity to order Golf R injectors, which I don't believe are a massive difference. I think they're about 10% larger than the GTI ones. However, they are an upgrade and they will be new. So that is what I've done. I've ordered them. They should be here in the next few days. Now I'm going to wait till the next video now, guys. This is the end of the video, to do the compression test, because I've got to go. I'm actually in work uniform. I've been driving all day, so I've just come in to film this last little bit. So obviously I won't be able to do a compression test with the rail out anyway, because obviously I need the injectors in to be able to do the compression test. So I'm assuming it's all right, but we don't know. So in the next episode, guys, we'll find out if the engine's all right, and then we'll be able to fit the new injectors. And also, while I've got the inlet manifold out, we may have a look at carbon clean, and also have a look at the thermostat. I'm assuming that's what the coolant leak is as well, guys. So there we go. Golf broke down within 2 minutes of having roughly probably 450 horsepower. So that's it, guys. So in the next episode or the next video, it's probably going to be back on the RS6, because I'm sure that the parts for this won't be here for a few more days yet. So that is the benefit to having more than one car to be able to work on when things like this happen. So as always, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers, guys.